Anyone remember that blue hedgehog from TV? Cause I sure as hell didn't. But the community asked for it, so I will do my god-given duty and make a video on how a blue mutated hedgehog would do in Dragon Ball. I'm gonna be real honest with you guys, I knew absolutely nothing about Sonic at all prior to making this video. All I remembered was that one DS game, I think it was called Sonic Rush, where you could play as this cat, I think her name was Blaze. And you had a really cool, carnival level. That's legit all I know and remember about Sonic whatsoever. So logically, I asked my viewers for advice on where to find information on the franchise. I looked into the things my viewers sent me and I did my own research for a bit. And my god, why is the Sonic fandom filled to the brim with and flat out I mean, I know all about Christian, but genuinely, what the fuck, guys? But anyway, as my viewers also suggested to me, I will be using Archie Sonic for this video. This is also a first for me since I never really used a comic character or a video game character for this series before, but if this video performs well and the reception is good, I'm definitely down to do more of these kind of videos with video game or comic characters, for sure. So who specifically is Archie Sonic? To put it as simple as we possibly can put it, Archie Sonic is the version of Sonic written by Archie Comics. This version of Sonic encompasses all of these comic books plus the storybook video games. From what I was able to find online, it seems that the Sonic from the non-storybook video games is not the same as the Sonic from the Archie comics. Whichever version of Sonic was considered canon was also vastly different as well, depending on what article I read or what people I talked to, but the vast majority of people did state that the video games are the main canon and that the Archie Sonic is not canon to the main continuity, but please do correct me on this in the comments if I got this wrong. Like I said, I heard many different things from many different sources, so it's possible that I mixed up what's canon and what's not, but it's not really that relevant for this video anyway. And since we are doing a non-canon character version of Sonic, I thought it would be a ton of fun to use the non-canon Dragon Ball Z movies for this video as well. Now, watch me look like a total dumbass because Archie Sonic does end up being canon, but I swear to god I found multiple sources online stating he wasn't, but whatever. And another little disclaimer, I suppose, the tier list itself won't change just because I will use the movies for this video. We know roughly in what saga the movies take place, so we can just keep the tier list as is. An example being, let's say hypothetically Sonic would cap at Turles. This would mean he gets placed at the Saiyan saga, etc, etc. But let's not daddle any longer and get to what Archie Sonic can actually do to make his way through the Dragon Ball universe. For starters, there is the very obvious fact that Sonic is very, very fast. I don't think this should come as much of a surprise to anyone really, but I have to mention this. But how fast is Archie Sonic exactly? From what I have been able to find from multiple sources online, the fastest Archie Sonic has ever ran is 1,176,470,588,000 light years in 9 seconds. Kudos to Lucas Alvas Francesca Fernandez for calculating this, because I would be way too horrible at math to come to this conclusion or anywhere near it. Another source talking about this exact same scenario states that Sonic ran over 148,000 light years in another 9 seconds. This number was calculated by someone going by the name of Dirty Work, and it's pretty different from the one we just had from Lucas. I'm not sure which one's correct because I did read the panel and it doesn't really explicitly state what the speed was, but it's more like people calculated this for themselves. The number is significantly lower than the previous number stated by Lucas, but it is still an incredibly massive number regarding speed. And if that number is not ridiculous enough for you, there are sources that state that Sonic's speed is simply infinite, which sounds stupid, but it makes sense, trust me. Let me explain why. Sonic is shown to surpass his own speed time and time again, getting to higher numbers. He does not appear to have a hard, set in stone limit to how far he can physically go, which is obvious since he gets stronger to scale the enemies every time. Something like this is not exactly new because Dragon Ball does the exact same thing. Hell, every shonen anime does this. But with Sonic, the difference is that his speed has actually been labeled as being literally infinite before. To put this into perspective with a little bit of an example, Goku Goku's instant transmission is an actual instant movement. He moves from place A to place B instantly with no delays. The statement that he travels at light speed is a Toei dub only thing. Sonic is still faster than the instant transmission due to the simple fact that Goku has to take the time to lock onto an energy signature. Another dub error I feel is worth mentioning is when Toei dub had Piccolo state Raditz is faster than light. This was simply not true. In the original version, Piccolo just states that Raditz is very fast, but he was never stated to be as fast as light. Nowadays fighters can move faster than light, but this came way later than the Saiyan saga for sure. Putting his speed to the side for a minute, he is also incredibly durable and strong. It's pretty weird to say this, but Sonic, the blue hedgehog looking thing, is actually pretty adept at hand-to-hand combat. One time when he was fighting an illusion of his own super form, he is actually capable of taking punches from his stronger self without much effort. It is worth mentioning here that Super Sonic does not work with a set multiplier like Super Saiyan does. Where Super Saiyan is a flat times 50 multiplier, not counting grade 2 or 3 here, Super Sonic just draws whatever power he needs from the Chaos Emeralds. He could get 50 times stronger, 100 times stronger, hell, he could theoretically even get weaker if he wanted, you know, etc. In fact, he got hit by a blast that sent him 894,000 light years away, and he was just fine. Just shrug that shit off. Like, that's stronger than a lot of the blasts in Dragon Ball period. Like, not a lot of attacks would send somebody that many light years away. Just saying, you know? Like, and there was also that one time he just ignored physics and threw a ball of water at someone before the laws of physics could even take effect on it. Heck, he even moved through literal stop time and called it slow. Speaking of Super Sonic, all these numbers I just threw in your face a minute ago were from base Sonic, just not Super at all. Obviously, he gets way more busted in Super Sonic form or his weird like Werehog form or whatever other form he has. But all the numbers I just gave you were just base form Sonic, just bare bones. Like, he is literally that strong and fast in base and he'll only get stronger. Now, I'll give you a little spoiler here, but the reason why I have been pretty reluctant on doing comic book characters for this series specifically is because they tend to be written to be way stronger than your average manga character. It's really weird because you might not think so at first glance, but once you look into it, you will find that nearly every comic book character is just written 10,000 times more overpowered than a manga character would have been. And obviously, Archie Sonic is no exception at all. For example, did you know that Sonic is pretty much unkillable? He has a protective aura of sorts that just keeps his life force preserved and intact at all times. There was this one chapter where they erased his existence with the Ultimate Annihilator and he just came back. On God, I don't want to see any comments on this video stating the Dragon Balls are bullshit hacks, bro. Like, if you think the Dragon Balls are overpowered, they are literal, like, fucking greasy old man testicles compared to Sonic. Like, that's not an argument in this video. I don't want to see it. There are a million other things he can do, such as the vibration thingy the Flash does, where it just moves, like, through things on a molecular level. Literally breaking the fourth wall and changing his own reality. That's apparently something he can just do. Beating up literal dimensional gods. Utilizing the Chaos Emeralds and the power rings to increase his power exponentially, collapsing his entire cosmology by accident and creating lasting side effects in the new reality, etc. But let's get to it and see how far I believe he would get in Dragon Ball. So first off, we have movie 1, the Dead Zone. Garlic Jr. is actually an interesting foe here because he is quite literally immortal. He used the Dragon Balls and got the coveted wish for immortality and actually, you know, succeeded. The only slight problem here is Garlic Jr. is far too weak and far too slow to do anything to Sonic. He could open the Dead Zone and somehow trap Sonic there. I don't know how he would do that, but it's a possibility, I suppose. But Sonic ran through dimensions, so yeah. Garlic's getting his ass beat for all eternity, I'm afraid. Like, rip Garlic. My goat Dr. Willow is next, but let's be honest here. He is going to meet the same fate all of Eggman's dumbass robots faced. He is going to get repeatedly stomped on the head until he poofs and a cute animal comes out. Or well, in his case, a brain the size of a semi-truck. Turles could theoretically catch up if he ate enough fruits of the Tree of Might, but I somehow doubt he would be able to get, you know, enough fruits to eat before Sonic just shoves the tree up his ass. Turles being my favorite Dragon Ball Z villain really makes me hate to say this, but he's getting wasted by Sonic. Ah, sorry about that, I just puked in my mouth a bit there, no idea why, but moving on. Next up we have Lord Slug, who is gonna get his Namekian booty just ran through by Sonic. Not even Slug's perfect square jawline is going to save him from the multi-dimensional threat that is Archie Sonic. Cooler is going to give this a shot next, and while he is certainly capable of destroying planets without a threat, he is not going to hit Sonic, hurt Sonic, or even see Sonic before he gets tossed into the sun. Cooler is definitely a massive power-up from Slug, but not nearly enough. But have no fear, for Shiny Cooler is here. This time with access to the instant transmission and infinite copies of himself. Metal Cooler unironically has a shot at tiring Sonic out in the like 0.00001% chance scenario where Sonic does not figure out he needs to destroy the Big Getty Star, and knowing how Cooler likes to gloat and explain his every single power in detail to his enemies, I think we all know how that will go down. The local redneck is next, and just being 100% transparent here, he stands no chance. He is technically stronger than Metal Cooler, but he just feels way weaker because he lacks the hex Metal Cooler has. I mean, sure, he can roid out by absorbing 14 and 15, but what will that even do for him? Even in his Super Android 13 form, he's just not touching Sonic to begin with. Like, there's really no way he would be able to handle Sonic, let alone Super Sonic. Broly, specifically Dragon Ball Z Broly, is just Road Rage incarnate, and I am 100% sure he could take a couple of punches from Sonic. He's literally a walking tank, but just like his predecessors, I don't really see a way he can touch Sonic. You can argue he could destroy the planet Sonic is standing on, but Sonic is so fast, he can just run away easily. Just like the advice I give your average BMW driver, Road Rage is not always the answer, and stop tailgating me, I swear to god, BMW drivers, on god, fucking assholes. And I already know people will say in the comments that Broly gets stronger over time infinitely, but this is just simply not true. Broly's ki does keep on growing, but his body can only hold so much at a time. He has to expunge the excess ki by shooting it out. He has infinitely regenerating ki, but his power level does not like infinitely grow. That's a pretty common misconception, which I'm not sure why people even still have this. It's been debunked so many times, but you know, it's worth mentioning in this scenario, so we don't get bullshit comments in the comment section down below, even though we will still probably get this because people don't really listen, and Dragon Ball fans can't read. Next up we have the Space Pirate Bojack, who is about perfect cell level, but without the Zenkai boots, regeneration and skills of all the Z fighters. Saying it like that really does make Bojack look like a proper wanker now, but you know, being realistic, if Broly couldn't do it, why the hell would Bojack be able to do it? Broly is back for round 2 and he wants to fight his woodland critter once again, but since he lost to a Gohan who hasn't trained since the Cell games, we can safely say he is going to follow Cooler for an all-inclusive vacation to the nearest sun. We don't talk about Bio Broly, so just imagine this film just never existed, we'll just skip this. Janemba is actually interesting. With his dimensional warp shenanigans and power, he could be a good playmate for Sonic. He might even need to go into Super Sonic for this fight, but ultimately I still think Sonic bodies Janemba pretty easily. Sonic being able to break through dimensions will put a stop to Janemba's hex, and Sonic is still leagues faster than Janemba could ever dream to be. Hirudegarn has pretty much the same arguments as Janemba. His warping abilities can prove to be tricky, but in overall abilities, Sonic is just written to be far superior. Hirudegarn also lacks intelligence to a certain degree. He is more of an instinctual fighter, while Sonic having more brains also works in the advantage of Sonic himself. I'm skipping Battle of Gods for now, but it will come back later in the video, but the reason I'm skipping it here is because it comes after Wrath of the Dragon, but we all know Beerus is like far stronger than, let's say, Golden Frieza from Resurrection F, so I feel it's a bit unfair to place him before Golden Frieza, so I'll just move him further back. Speaking of which, we are moving back into the canon because Frieza is returning back to Earth is a canon event, boyos. Golden Frieza is very fucking strong, and I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but what is my guy going to do against Sonic? Frieza's not fast enough, Frieza is not strong enough. It's pretty sad, but I can't really think of any arguments why Golden Frieza would be able to do anything whatsoever against Archie Sonic. Like, yeah, it's pretty sad, honestly. Like... But jumping over to the Broly from the Dragon Ball Super continuity, we have someone who can shatter dimensions, but the ass pull Sonic has pulled make Broly seem like a toddler who shat his pants after losing his favorite toy. Cell Max is basically the same thing, strong enough no, fast enough hell no, even Beerus with his Akai. Sonic has literal plot armor. Like, literal plot armor. He can just survive being erased from existence, so even Zeno probably can't do jack shit to the abomination that is Sonic. Sonic is just written to be so ridiculously strong that nothing, and I repeat, absolutely nothing, in Dragon Ball can do jack shit to this little bastard. I mean, you can make the argument they could use like that dragon to wish his speed away, but does that even work? Because Sonic will probably just infinitely grow his speed back, like, or he will just break the fourth wall and just restore his speed. Like, comic book characters are just built different, literally. So for my placement of Sonic on the tier list, he gets to share the question mark tier with Saitama because there is simply no way I can comfortably place him anywhere else on this list without capping hard. This result may be surprising to some of you, but from what I have been able to find about Sonic Online, he just really is that guy. I can't find a compelling argument why pretty much anybody in Dragon Ball would be stronger than Sonic, faster than Sonic, or even able to beat Sonic. With that being said, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more similar content in the future, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another video ever again. If you want to support me in another way, I recently set up a channel membership option. It's only $5 a month, but please only spend your money on supporting me if you can actually miss it. Things are expensive enough already as things stand, and I don't want people to get monetary issues because they want, they feel they want to support me. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.